In the quiet, tree-lined suburbs of Maplewood, New Jersey, there was a garage. It was not the hallowed garage of Hewlett-Packard or the fabled birthplace of Apple. This garage was cluttered. It smelled of motor oil and damp concrete. And in it, amidst lawnmowers and forgotten Christmas decorations, sat a young woman named Maya Sharma. She was not a prodigy in the classical sense. She did not have a perfect SAT score. Her parents were not titans of industry. They were a librarian and a high school math teacher. Yet, in that ordinary garage under the weak glow of a single fluorescent bulb, an extraordinary dream was taking shape. Maya believed she could build an artificial intelligence that could understand human needs and predict human needs before we even knew them ourselves. It was an audacious idea, a fantastically improbable one. For someone with a second-hand laptop and a stack of library books on machine learning, it was almost laughable. Failure is the shadow that follows every great ambition. For Maya Sharma, it was a constant companion. Her journey was not a smooth ascent, it was a landscape pocked with craters of defeat. Her first attempt to secure funding was a disaster. She walked into a small-time angel investor's office with a laptop and a heart full of hope. She presented her prototype, a slightly more advanced version of her garage chatbot. The investor, a man who had made his fortune in real estate, stared blankly. He clicked through the demo, asked a few perfunctory questions, and then delivered his verdict with a dismissive wave. Cute, but not a business. The words stung. They echoed in her mind for weeks, a soundtrack of rejection that threatened to silence her ambition. This was not an isolated incident. The rejections piled up. There was the venture capitalist who laughed her out of the room. There was the tech incubator that sent a form letter so generic it could have been for a new brand of dog food. Each no was a small death. It chipped away at her confidence. She began to doubt her vision. Instead, she treated each failure as a data point. The investor who called her AI a toy forced her to think bigger. The idea of innate talent is a myth, we tell ourselves. The master musician, the star athlete, the brilliant scientist, we see their polished final performance and call it genius. We rarely see the grueling, repetitive practice that got them there. Carl Anders Ericsson proposed the 10,000-hour rule, suggesting that mastery needs about 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. For Maya Sharma, those hours weren't in a conservatory or on a field. They were in front of a glowing screen, fingers flying across a keyboard. The garage, her tiny apartment, was her dojo. Long before a team or office, Maya was putting in the hours. This was not passive learning. Not just reading books or watching tutorials, but active, focused, deliberate practice. She set herself a challenge: build a neural network to recognize handwritten digits. She worked on it for days, failed, tore it down, and started again. She dove into obscure academic papers to grasp the math behind new algorithms. No outlier succeeds alone. The myth of the solitary genius is just that, a myth. Behind every visionary is a team, a tribe, a small group of people who believe in the idea when no one else does. As Maya's vision grew beyond what she could build by herself, she knew she needed help. But she did not look for it in the usual places. She did not recruit from the top of the Ivy League graduating classes or poach senior engineers from established tech giants. She could not afford them, for one. But more importantly, she was looking for a different kind of person. She was looking for fellow misfits. People like her, who were driven by a burning curiosity and a healthy disregard for the impossible. Her first hire was Ben Carter, a brilliant but eccentric data scientist she met at a local hackathon. Ben had been fired from his last 2 jobs for not being a team player. What that really meant was that he was bored by corporate bureaucracy, and preferred to spend his time pursuing unconventional solutions. He saw the beauty in Maya's vision immediately. Then came Sarah Jenkins, a user interface designer who had quit her job at a major ad agency because she felt her creativity was being stifled. She was tired of designing pop-up ads and wanted to build something that mattered. Together they formed the nucleus of Aura AI. Every long journey has a turning point. A moment when the struggle crystallizes into something real. For Maya and her small team, that moment came on a Tuesday night in October. They had been working for 18 months on their core project, an AI assistant codenamed Athena. The goal was ambitious, an AI that did not just respond but could analyze vast, unstructured datasets, emails, calendars, news articles, market trends, and proactively offer insightful, relevant suggestions. It was the leap from a simple chatbot to a true cognitive partner. They had failed hundreds of times, the system would crash, the insights were nonsensical, the code was a tangled mess. On this particular night, they were testing a new iteration of the core algorithm. Ben had devised a novel way to handle contextual understanding, Sarah had redesigned the output to be more conversational. They fed the system a week's worth of a test user's data, emails about a struggling project, calendar entries for meetings with a difficult client, and a news feed showing a competitor's surprise product launch. They held their breath. For a full minute the system was silent. Then a notification appeared on the screen. Having a brilliant product is not the same as having a business. The world is littered with superior technologies that failed. The chasm between early adopters, people who appreciate technology for its own sake, and the mainstream market. After the breakthrough with Athena, Maya and her team had a working prototype that amazed their small circle of tech-savvy friends. But to the rest of the world, they were still nobody. They needed their first real customer. They needed someone to take a chance on them to validate their technology not in a lab but in the real world. This is where risk-taking and leadership matter. Maya targeted a mid-sized logistics company, a business drowning in complexity. Shipping routes, vehicle maintenance schedules, fluctuating fuel prices. Maya believed Athena could make a real difference. She secured a meeting with the company's skeptical, old-school CEO, Mr. Harrison. He'd seen a dozen tech pitches promising the moon. Maya did not bring a slick sales deck. She brought a demonstration. The first contract was a victory, the second was a trend, the third was a trend. By the fifth it was a problem, a good problem, but a problem nonetheless. The process of onboarding a new client was entirely manual. Maya was working 100-hour weeks, custom tuning the Athena algorithm for each new data set. Ben was working 100-hour weeks, custom tuning the Athena algorithm for each new data set. Sarah was working 100-hour weeks, custom tuning the Athena algorithm for each new data set. They were succeeding, but they were not scaling. The company's growth was limited by the number of hours in their day. To go from $1 million business to $1 billion one, Maya had to change her thinking. She had to stop being the chief coder. She had to start being the chief architect. She had to build a system, a machine that could run and grow without her direct intervention in every single part of it. This is one of the most difficult transitions for any founder. It requires letting go. Maya had to trust others to care for her creation as much as she did. In the world of technology, valuation is a strange and abstract measure of success. On the day Aura AI went public, trading pushed its market capitalization past the $25 billion mark. The number was staggering. It made Maya Sharma, on paper, one of the wealthiest self-made women in the world. For the public, this was the finish line, the ultimate victory, the moment the girl from the garage officially became a titan of technology. But for Maya, sitting in her office watching the stock ticker on a screen, the feeling was not one of simple triumph. It was far more complex. Her technology was now embedded in the critical infrastructure of society. It was helping doctors diagnose diseases. It was helping banks detect fraud. It was helping cities manage their energy grids. She established one of the industry's first independent AI ethics boards, with real veto power. She committed significant profits to a foundation for retraining workers for the jobs of the future. The story of Maya Sharma and Aura AI is often told as a story of genius. It is about the potential that lies within each of us to carve our own path. The path of the outlier is not for the faint of heart, but it is a path that is open to anyone willing to walk it.